we're hopeful, but we don't know.
Thank you. Next, we'll go to Sean Tandon at the AFP.
Sorry, unmuted myself. Thanks for doing this, and very sorry to hear about your father's situation. Sebastian, at the beginning, you mentioned a bit your father's reaction today, the stoicism, but a smile. I know these are little tidbits that you've heard. Can you explain a little bit more what you think is your father is feeling right now? I mean, he's given so much of his life for this, and now with this sentence, either from what you've heard or what you expect in the coming days, what you think he's feeling right now.
Yeah, many people have asked me whether whether I think he regrets this, and or whether I would have asked him to leave all those years ago. But then I remember when my father was first arrested 5 years ago, and then he was let out, and then someone had asked him, "Look, Jimmy, now that it's come to this, knowing that you might very well spend the rest of your life in prison, do you regret what you've done?" And he says, when I was in the detention cell, they gave me this thin little blanket, so I couldn't sleep, and so I had the whole night to look back on the last 30 years, and looking back, I realized I wouldn't have changed a damn thing. I think that was his reaction then, and I think that is his reaction now. He knows that he gave his all for his beliefs, for freedom, for democracy, for the people of Hong Kong, until there was no more to give. You can't control what these bullies, these horrible people do to you, but you control what you do, and he has done that, and it's incredible. It's incredible that he's still holding strong.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Next, we'll go to Didi Tang at the Associated Press.
Okay, good morning. Sorry to hear what has happened. Following up on what the State Department said, the State Department says, the State Department is authorities to consider humanitarian parole. So I want to get your thoughts, like at this point, how likely do you think that? What kind of under the way to secure your father's release?
Sorry, the feed's quite bad. I didn't hear the first one.
I didn't hear any part.
Can you hear me now?
No, it's still quite. It's still cuts off for some reason.
Oh,
Didi, if you don't mind putting your question in the chat, we can read it out loud.
Okay.
In the meantime, we'll go to Emmeline Vin at RFI.
Oh, sorry, Emily. I think you're still muted.
Indeed, apologies. Good afternoon. Thank you for this briefing and lots of thoughts to both of you. Sebastian, are you hoping for the UK government to do something now?
Yes, yeah, 100%. Look, I think over the last few weeks, many of you here from United Kingdom would have seen that the UK's new policy towards China is closer relationship. It's a normalization of relationships. But relationships can't be normalized until my father's free. I think in my mind, we've given many stuff away, including the trip, including the embassy. But everybody's worried about China in this country, especially regarding national security. And they have done nothing to abate our national security concerns. And look, if they're not even willing to put a 78-year-old man whose health they've ruined, who they've tortured for the last 5 years, whose business they've taken away, on a plane and send him back to the United Kingdom, that says all you need to know about this new strategy and all you need to know about how China thinks of us as a country. So I think this is the ultimate test between the UK and China.
Thank you. We'll go to Yuko.
Hi, Sebastian and Claire. Thank you so much for doing this. And I'm so sorry to hear about your father. My question is about the how do you see? So we just showed the Secretary of the State Marco Rubio announced statement to request a parole. But do you think that you are getting enough support from the international community? The pressure strong enough to change the course of Beijing and Hong Kong's authorities? And what do you expect from the Japanese government to do? Thank you.
If I can quickly mention, I mean, the Japanese government has been supportive. I mean, they were part of the G7 statement, and I've had certain interviews with certain Japanese outlets as well. And I mean, we are getting a huge amount of international support from the EU, from the UN. But as mentioned, this is an issue that has to be that has to be solved sovereign to sovereign. And I mean, far be it for me to say how foreign policy should be conducted, but there are certain countries like the UK which that you know that in a country like with a country like China that has breached its treaties in the past, asking for a simple gesture of goodwill shouldn't be too much to ask. And that gesture of goodwill, to be clear, is the release of my father, who's a British citizen.
Yeah, I mean, I echo what my father said. Obviously, just echoing how grateful we are to the United States and Secretary Rubio for this statement, and to President Trump. And also how grateful we are for Japan to sign on the G7 statement. Obviously, more can always be done. Japan could call for my father's release individually, as has many countries in the G7 statement. But we're grateful, and I think, look, my father's story is in some sense the embodiment of the freedoms that we enjoy in democracies, and how they're being targeted and destroyed. And I think it's a good opportunity for many countries around the world who believes in these freedoms, who value these freedoms, to stand behind this man and say, this is our guy, and what you're doing to him is completely unacceptable.
I just do want it on the record that, I mean, the Irish Prime Minister Taoiseach, I don't know, has called for my father's release in its bilateral relations, and I mean, I just want to say how grateful we are for that as well. Yeah, and we hope that more countries do that, as my brother has said. These are the values that my father stood for, are values that are shared in many democracies.
Thank you. I'm going to read off Dee Dee Tang's question in the chat. On humanitarian parole, as called by the State Department, what efforts are underway for your father's release? How likely or how hopeful are you for his parole?
We have no idea, but obviously, look, this has been raised now at the highest level multiple times with Xi Jinping. Obviously, we don't know what the in-depth conversations are. But regarding humanitarian parole, this is a man who is, unfortunately very close to dying. This is a man who's gone through a tremendous amount. His body has really degraded, as Claire very painfully said. So that would just be the right thing to do. Otherwise, I think internationally you're looking at Hong Kong and China essentially abusing an elder.
And also, I mean, just to add, the life expectancy of the average male in Hong Kong is 83. My father was handed a 20-year sentence. He is 5 years from 83. I mean, just looking at this objectively, this has to be solved sovereign to sovereign. It's not something that, given his poor health, he has it. Yeah. As I echo what Sebastian said.
We have time for one more question. I'll go to Helen.
Yes, I'm Helen. Nice to meet you too. I want to know that have you discussed the sentence with your father before? What he expected? And also, I want to know, is anything you want to say to the Hong Kong people? Can you speak in Cantonese to just speak to them? They are very, very concerned your father's situation.
So I've seen my father most recently. I mean, obviously we knew that I mean, this was something that I mean, my brother put it beautifully that it was something, you know, you can't if you live always deterred by fear, you don't really live at all. And you know, but my father, he always knew that he always trusted in divine providence from the very first day of his arrest up until most recently. You know, he knew that he was in God's good hands, and he fully trusted that. And as to the words in Cantonese, 我想多謝大家我見到我見到琴晚有好多人喺西九出邊喺西九出邊瞓覺，好似嗰時係咪8點定係9點咧？已經有成30幾個人喺西九出邊瞓覺，好多謝大家嘅支持，亦都好多謝大家有啲係我同我哥哥嘅訪問都會翻譯做中文。同埋即係蘋果日報25年做咗一個好難嘅任務，都係因為有香港人嘅支持，所以真係多謝大家。係咯I can Helen, I can do a video for you later on and yeah, thank you.
Sorry, I mean, just to add to, in terms of discussing sentencing, no, look, it's not something that Dad's ever discussed with us growing up. Obviously, we always knew that he was doing the right thing, even as children, and we always kind of knew back of our mind that this was a possibility, but that, you know, it's a man who's doing what's right, and I think it's as simple as that. And you don't really need to, if you're doing what's right, you don't really have to explain to your kids why you're doing what you're doing. And the consequences were understood, and we're obviously very proud of him.
Thank you everyone for joining. If you have any follow-up questions, please feel free to reach out to the email from which you received this invitation. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in.